Chris Hermoian, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Yes, back in the mid-1990s, I was inspired by a group from Northern California called the Charlatans that I'd become friends with. They inspired me to kind of write something about this is a 19th century Western short story. And that was the first short story I ever wrote, and I wrote 11 songs to go with it, released it as a CD. I've been trying to do it as a stage production since the mid-90s, and early last year it all fell in place. This is David Hargraves, and he and I grew up together in LaPorte, Texas. We've been playing together since junior high school in bands. And this is John Garrison, and John and I went to college together. Now let me say, I didn't finish college, so I don't want to, that would ruin my street cred. Yeah, I went to some classes, but I didn't finish,
Divinity student.
John did, however, and he's pretty fabulous. And I got with John early last year, and John has written a narration based on the short story, which he'll be performing, and David and I will do the music. And it's a little piece, it's called Tucson. I'm gonna shine my boots, clean my shirt, comb my wild hair down. I've been staring at her picture till my eyes hurt. I'm gonna see her tonight in Tucson town. Pretty as her name, sweet Carol Lee, with hair of chestnut brown. Does she ever think of me? I think I'll ask her tonight in Tucson town. Now my heart is beating louder than the hoofbeats on the ground. I'm gonna ride my pony till he's soaking wet and I see the lights of Tucson town. For your precious love I would face a host of dangers, but just one smile I would sail the seven seas. I would cry for you in a room full of strangers. Tell me, Cara, how far would you go for me? Your father doesn't like me. He thinks I'm a troublemaker. I'll fit him for his last new suit and send him to the undertaker. I still see her father's face as I stared him down. Now I must hasten up my pace and distance me from Tucson town. For your precious love I would face a host of dangers. For just one smile I would sail the seven seas. I would cry for you in a room full of strangers. Tell me, Cara, how far would you go for me?
That whole boy meets girl, boy shoots girl's father cold. Will boy still get girl when our story's been told? A boy must have more than the fastest horse to outride mistakes on an unseen course, and a girl must grant that boy forgiveness for him to find grace he'd otherwise miss. So that's the story they're gonna try to tell. Keep your fingers crossed, I can tell it well. Scotland in winter, 1868. The coldest winter James Anderson had known. Burning coal could warm, but blackered the lungs. No clean coal back then. Now neither, in truth. Bitter winds found cracks round James's front door as his frail wife fought, trying to give birth. She was born in light, Cara Lee her name, but the mother's light grew cold and soon died. He buried his wife in stony hard ground and vowed to her soul he'd protect their child. Cara Lee would know neither cold nor want. I'll not raise me bairn in so cursed a land. Spring found them gone far, booked on a steamship bound for New York town and a better life. The voyage was long, wetly cramped and cold, but Cara Lee thrived in the brisk salt air. In New York harbor, Lady Liberty held her torch of hope high for all to see. Immigrants welcome from around the world, tired, poor, and huddled, yearning to breathe free. Nice words from statues that are not yet built. Fact is, that statue weren't even there then. It was 20 years later before she showed up. Just making sure you're mostly still awake. Besides, this country don't welcome some folks from some other lands. Not then and not now neither. By train and wagon they journeyed west, and James learned well just how big America is. They passed through Austin, and James thought of stopping, but, you know, Austin was just too damn weird. Heading further west, they reached Tucson town. Its harsh, hot climate appealed to our James. As a blood-spitting, horny-toadly guy, he embraced challenge and dug new spurs deep. With a lot of work and shrewd business deals, James turned a large ranch into a small fortune. Named the Embarque for his wife and child, James had a kingdom of cacti and cows. And the years went on by. Spring of '84, her 16th birthday, no boys invited. To James's proud eyes, she was still a girl to be watched over and kept safe from harm. "Aye, none'll hurt her, I've promised me wife." So, that's Carol Lee and James Anderson. Now, our story needs a young boy, don't it? Sonny was a boy in a young hurry. He came in a rush from Carolina, determined to be a cowboy. In Tucson, he heard of the E-Barquet, and riding to the ranch, he knew life would change. James took a quick look and hired him right then. Sonny was destined to be a cowboy. The first time Sonny and Carol locked eyes, they fell hard and fast. Big rock plopped in small pond. I'm talking eye-popping, drum-loud, heart-beating, his tongue just a-draggling through the prickly pear. They tried to hide it, their fast-bloomin' love, but James was a Scot, and so not much fooled. He could not accept that he might lose his girl as he lost his wife, and to a cowboy. The kids stole moments where they could find them. Some days, Kara packed a picnic lunch, and together they rode to meadows awash in flowers. Hand in hand they walked through fields of color and dreamed of a better life far away from there. A confrontation could not be far off. James laid down the law, and there was no doubt Sonny must steer clear or he must clear out.
How far would you go? How far would you go? My love is struggling, and I need to know, how far would you go? Well, I would fly to you, and I would take the train to you. Well, I would walk across town with the rain pouring down. That's how far I would go. How far would you go? How far would you go? My love is struggling, and I need to know, how far would you go? My love is struggling, and I need to know, how far would you go?
James had seen enough, and he had his say. He ordered Sonny off the E-Barquet. Sonny rode away, but did not range far. He made camp nearby. Kara's brand burnt deep. All the livelong day and each sleepless night, thoughts of Kara Lee kept him company. And one evening, Sonny, in a hurry, rode, determined to plead his love for Kara Lee. Sonny and James met in the yard out front. Harsh words were spoken by both man and boy. James pulled his pistol and Sonny drew his gun just as Kara Lee came onto the porch. Both men fired their guns. One bullet hit home. Another big win for standing your ground. Kara Lee cried out as she ran to James. Sonny found his horse and rode away quick. With ranch hands chasing, Sonny headed south, and soon he lost them in the rugged hills. He wandered alone and in a bother. Had he really shot Kara Lee's father?
I felt a hot wind blow, heard the black snake moan. Man, I was sinking low, I was all alone. Well, I'm standing here looking for a preacher man to snatch me from the palm of the devil's hand. Whiskey, 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 when will it ever end? I probably lost my love, yeah, my only friend. But I'm standing here looking for a preacher man to snatch me from the palm of the devil's hand. Devil's hand, I can feel those fiery flames again. I walked a mile of pain, had a drunkard's dream, woke up in the rain, as if I was out at sea. Well, I'm standing here looking for a preacher man to snatch me from the palm of the devil's hand. Devil's hand, I can feel those fiery flames again. Standing here looking for a preacher man to snatch me from the palm of the devil's hand. I'm standing here looking for a preacher man to snatch me from the palm of the devil's hand.
Riding south, Sonny heard Mexico's call. Crossing was easy, with no great big wall. Sonny decided he'd stay a while. The Tex-Mex was good, and no one knew him. In Mexico, drinks poured almost near free. The cantinas swirled, dance and drink and song. Good to let all go, shedding his worry. For once in his life, there was no hurry. Out of dinero again came the call to ride back around that imagined wall. He rode for Fort Worth, knowing well the risk, but he could get work there in the stockyards. In Cowtown, Sonny discovered the truth. The wanted poster proclaimed it murder. His worst fears come true. James was truly dead, carelessly orphaned by Sonny's own hand. Each glance from strangers filled Sonny with dread. The stockyard's a trap about to spring shut. Sonny rode back south, chased by all he feared. He stopped in Austin, still just too damn weird.
hiding out in a cheap hotel in Austin. I've got Tucson on my mind. Seems like a pretty good place to get lost in and try to let myself unwind. So many questions burning at me, hotter than the Texas sun. Oh, how sweet the taste of freedom when you're on the run. I never took up with no bad crowd. I always watched my P's and Q's. But when her father pulled his pistol, what was I supposed to do? Did they think I was angry, or I shot him just for fun? Oh, how sweet the taste of freedom when you're on the run. Oh, Caroline, I call your name. Will I ever see your face or touch a gentle hand again? Hiding out in a cheap hotel in Austin. I've got Tucson on my mind. What a well of trouble I've been tossed in. Will I ever leave it all behind? One day I'll pay for my transgression, for the wrong that I have done. Oh, how sweet the taste of freedom when you're on the run. One day I'll pay for my transgression, for the wrong that I have done. Oh, how sweet the taste of freedom when you're on the run.
In a bar downtown, he heard wild rumors. He had been shot dead down in Mexico. Some thought the rumors pushed by a young gun looking to pump up his reputation, and some believed Sonny started the rumors to discourage men hunting for bounty. Sonny hoped rumors might buy him some time. He'd overheard talk of San Francisco. A broke-down cowboy told of his time there. The old man bragged on the women he'd met. The year he spoke of was 67. It was, so he said, his summer of love. Would that far city, so grand and diverse, offer him needed anonymity? Who would see one face in so large a crowd? New immigrants there, fortune seekers all. Before he set out for California, he'd need to contact Carol Lee once more. He'd write her a letter explaining himself, how sorry he was, how much he loved her. Was there any hope she could love the man who'd killed her father as she stood watching? In his long letter, he told her he'd go to San Francisco to start a new life, and when he had arrived, he'd send his address. If she did not come, he would understand. The act of writing the letter helped Sonny somehow to shruggle off his burdens some. He would continue sending her letters as he journeyed west down the long dust trail. Going to Frisco, he'd need to show flair. He made sure to wear a flower in his hair.
She carefully unfolded the letters that she keeps in her pocket and read them again for the 10th time today. Then she studies the picture that she keeps in her locket of her true love who's so far away. The strength and wisdom she needed did not come so easily. There was so much she could not understand. How could the hand of her lover that had touched her so tenderly take the life of another man? The days grow longer, she begins to wonder, will she get an answer to her lover's prayer? Would she forever cry and just try to make it through each day? Or could she somehow try to trust that love will somehow find its way? She waits in the road for the postman to bring her a letter. She hasn't received one in so many days. It was the same road they walked down, hand in hand, when times were better. Would it ever again be that way? The days grow longer, she begins to wonder, will she get an answer to her lover's prayer?
Days turned into weeks, and time seemed pointless. Getting to San Fran was the only goal. Sonny rode back through Mexican Badlands, back and forth past that unseen wall. And one night, not sure where he was, Sonny felt dangerously close to Tucson. The night was lit bright by a billion stars. He felt 8 miles high and floating higher. He missed Carolee in a painful way, and it pulled at him towards the embarque.
I wish for the fastest horse, sure afoot on an unsure course. Wish I may, wish I might have you close to me tonight. And I wish for a steady hand, nerves of steel and a foolproof plan. Wish I may, wish I might have you close to me tonight. Well, I wish upon the brightest star to take me right to where you are. Wish I might have you close to me tonight, close to me tonight. And I wish for a coat of green, darker than my deepest dreams. Wish I might have you close to me tonight. Well, I wish upon the brightest star to take me right to where you are. Wish I might have you close to me tonight, close to me tonight. Well, I wish that I could have the chance to make you see the circumstance and somehow try to make you see you are the whole world to me. I wish for you a pretty red dress. I wish your every day be blessed. Wish I might have you close to me tonight. Well, I wish upon the brightest star to take me right to where you are. Wish I might have you close to me tonight, close to me tonight.
At last, arriving in San Francisco, Sonny hid himself deep in the Castro, a working-class place with working-class men, some saving money bunked to Iraq. He got himself a day job stitching Levi jeans and wrote to Carolee almost every night. He described the sun as it sank in the west into an ocean of fiery colors. He wrote of the coast and its great beauty and of sailing ships headed out to sea. Many months went by, no return letters. If she wrote him back, they might track him down. Each unanswered note meant hope faded. He sought some comfort in places too jaded.
Round the turn of the century, the Barbary coast was wild and free, and men would come from everywhere to seek their fortune just for the dare. Across the ocean from the Far East, she came seeking fortune, or at least to turn the head of every man she met and become what they would most regret. She's a treasure of the Orient, seducing everyone everywhere she went. giving pleasure till the money's all spent. She's the treasure of the Orient. She became the rage up and down the coast, never wanting for a willing host. San Francisco to Seattle and back again. She became a game no one could ever win. 'Cause in the game of desire she held the upper hand. She could gamble with any man, 'cause she knew most played only for the thrill. And she could hold out until she broke their will. She's a treasure of the Orient, seducing everyone everywhere she went, giving pleasure till the money's all spent. She's the treasure of the Orient. 'Cause when she gets into your blood, she stays in your blood. She'll circle round your mind till you leave your faith behind, and your hopes and dreams lay in the mud. Oriental silk or the finest jade held no worth when they were laid at the feet of a man who had spent one night with the treasure of the Orient until daylight. She could take the strongest soul and twist it and shape it and make a mold, a copy of hers, a half-empty shell, where only pain and loneliness dwell. She's the treasure of the Orient, seducing everyone everywhere she went, giving pleasure till the money's all spent. She's a treasure of the Orient.
Mornings found Sonny despondently broke. He began to smoke the occasional toke, and he sold Lucy's to those on the street down on the corner of Asbury and Haight. His paranoia and fear only grew till it consumed him. He began to change and alter his looks. He grew a mustache, then shaved it off, next a struggly beard to hide his gaunt face. He wore a new hat every other day, but his fear just grew till it consumed him. His brain felt jagged, a tripwire pistol, like a long, strange trip on too much crystal.
There's a lump in my throat bigger than my fist, and my nerves tingle louder than a tambourine. I see eyes staring at me through the fog and mist. Never knew a place could be so mean. I give a nervous glance to every passerby, and the heels of my boots make a deafening sound, and the sidewalk screams like the eagle's cry as I wind my way to the edge of town. What was that noise I heard? Did something move behind that tree? Was that the rustling of a bird? Or is someone following me? I keep my distance from the broad daylight. I still see shadows in the dark of night. I see things no one else can see. I see my fate and it's following me. To stay in one place, or to depend on another disguise. When I look in the mirror and I see my face, it's one that I can't recognize. What was that noise I heard? Did something move behind that tree? Was that the rustling of a bird? Or is someone following me? Yeah! Oh!
He hit rock bottom the day after blues with a mind like fish wrapped in yesterday's news. Sinking much lower would put him under just an unmarked grave in a potter's field. Then one day, the thing he hoped for and feared, a loud knock was heard at his flophouse door. He opened it slow, only to find her. Carolee standing, staring in wonder. She looked into eyes of the boy she'd known, a man with a face etched deep in sorrow. She pulled him to her, no doubts and no gray. All their fears began to be brushed away.
The lines have all been drawn. They separate the wrong from right. There's no place to paint in gray, but only black and white. And circumstances a sketch at best in the judgment of a crime. And accusers paint in broad strokes, hiding detail from the eye. Could you picture me your gentleman, and you could be my bride? And on a horse-drawn carriage, together we could ride to a place where judgment of the finished work is safely left to the one who sees beyond technique to the human element. We could walk through sunlit meadows or sail an emerald sea, like in those paintings by the masters that you once described to me. Finding freedom as the painter's brushstroke, colors start to swirl, 'cause there's no place left for you and me in this paint-by-numbers world. When your thoughts run back to me on some sleepless night, paint yourself a picture of when everything was right. of a time we were so innocent, and all that came before. I was painted in a corner and left to wonder just what for. We could walk through sunlit meadows or sail an emerald sea, like in those paintings by the masters that you once described to me. Finding freedom as the painter's brushstroke colors start to swirl, 'cause there's no place left for you and me in this paint by numbers world. There's no place left for you and me in this paint by numbers world.
Weeks flew by faster than a shooting star. Two people now close, for too long, too far. They spent each moment like it was their last, for Sonny well knew he'd have to leave soon. They'd laid a trail the law could follow, so Sonny would have to slip back into shadow. Carolee could not share his life on the run. He knew forgiveness now could sustain him. He'd ride out once more, try not to get caught. Kara would stay and buy a small shop. She'd sell frilly skirts to bohemians and settle for his occasional visits. When he did return, they'd dress to the nines. A night on the town with all that was fine.
All I have or will ever possess could not mean more to me than the image of you in that dress and my memory of the night. I was the lucky one, allowed to take your hand and escort you to the opera. The comb in your silky hair was made of golden filigree lace. Though I tried, I could not help but stare at how your curls fell softly around your face. Oh, and your perfume did smell like sweet magnolias, made it hard to concentrate on the opera. But after the opera was over and the final curtain went down, after the opera was over, I walked you home through this silent town. After you let me hold you close to warm you when the chilly wind blew through your evening gown, you let me know with just a look and a smile. You knew all the while I was mostly biding my time till after the opera. You are no stranger to the opera house. I consider you most cultured of pearls. I mostly frequent those fandango halls filled with drunken men and hurdy-gurdy girls. Oh, but tonight I shine like a diamond, rubbing elbows with the well-heeled dames and gents who are attending the opera. After the opera was over and the final curtain went down, after the opera was over, I walked you home through the silent town. After you let me hold you close to warm you, when the chilly wind blew through your evening gown. You let me know with just a look and a smile. You knew all the while I was mostly biding my time till after the opera.
More years passed on by. The great earthquake hit. In 1906, the ground threw a great fit. The city was wrecked by earth, wind, and fire. The frilly dress set moved south to L.A. Her shop in rubble, Kara tried again, now a coffee bar where poets would read. On days off, she'd wander the city and try to help out folks in the most need. In children's faces, in each boy and girl, Kara imagined a child of their own. Sonny had only Kara to desire when he closed his eyes or stared into a fire.
Carolee, Carolee, my dearest darling, would you weep for me? Weep for me. Poor man has the calloused hand. The rich man wears the deerskin glove. Wise man takes the safest plan. But the wise man never fell in love. Fell in love. Carolee, Carolee, my dearest darling, would you weep for me? Weep for me. Will I forever have to ride? Has the end of my life just begun? Will I forever have to hide? Or find my fate at the end of the barrel of a gun? Barrel of a gun. Carolee, Carolee, my dearest darling, would you weep for me? Weep for me. My dearest darling, would you weep for me? Would you weep for me? For your precious love, I would face a host of dangers. For just one smile, I would sail the seven seas. I would cry for you in a room full of strangers. Tell me, Kara, how far would you go for me?
Long nights by the fire, his memories wandered to those Tucson times, and books they pondered. Kara shared passions for learning and art. She sparked in Sonny a love of reading. Twain was a favorite, and his jumpin' frogs, Sierra foothills became a big draw. As he walked through groves of sequoia trees, his problems became exceedingly small. It seemed those far hills had something to give. That land was a place he knew they could live.
Hey, Sam Clements, don't be slow. Lace up your boots, I'm a-raring to go. Oh, won't you put away your paper, quell your quill, and I'll race you all the way to Jackass Hill. Well, it was in Sacramento where I overheard a Beau Brummel named Sal say a whispering word about a man who flew higher than a whippoorwill when he took libation on Jackass Hill. When it's a high time, it's a wonderful day. Minutes turn to hours and they slip away. I trade all the gold at Sutter's Mill for just a little more time on Jackass Hill. Now in Calaveras County, frogs will jump, and there's jars of whiskey in a hollow stump of a redwood tree by the copper still that lights up the night on Jackass Hill. Well, it's a high time, it's a wonderful day. Minutes turn to hours and they slip away. I trade all the gold at Sutter's Mill for just a little more time on Jackass Hill. Well, it wasn't too long for word went round from Columbia Camp to Sonora Town. There's just a little bitty sip and you'll never get enough of that eye-popping, jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, powerful stuff. Next time I go, I'm gonna take my friends, a dark-haired lady and a charlatan. We share a thirst for adventure and a bendable will. We'll watch it sway in the breeze as we wet our whistles, drinking from a jar on Jackass Hill. When it's a high time, it's a wonderful day. Minutes turn to hours and they slip away. I trade all the gold at Sutter's Mill for just a little more time on Jackass Hill.
Outside Sonora, 1924, an older couple worked an acre or more. They tried to grow kale and arugula. Both reportedly more or less edible. Market days in town, they'd spread out their wares and cheerfully sell at a complete loss. Busy church ladies and domino cheats gossiped about them and who they might be. She seemed merely brushed by the hands of time, while he looked savaged by the life he'd led. They also saw how they always held hands as they hiked the hills bright with flowers. They seemed more in love than couples should be. Public affection was not much in vogue. Across all the years, and despite much grief, Sonny and Kara still had each other. I tried, my dear wife, to protect our child, but when it counted, it was me failed her. The boy did love her. I couldn't have let go. You'd think being dead would dampen your pride. Forgive me, my child, for God knows I've tried.
For your precious love, I would face a host of danger. For just one smile, I would sail the seven seas. I would cry for you in a room full of strangers. Tell me, Kara, how far would you go for me? La da 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 da. John Garrison, David Hargraves, I'm Freddie Steady. Thank you so much for going on this journey with us tonight. Thank you. Let's get a drink.